So, it turns out, allegedly, Lee Harvey Oswald was involved in a CIA operation 3 months prior to JFK getting assassinated. Welcome to 2022. We're still trying to find the truth of what happened in the 1960s with JFK's assassination. So there's new alleged evidence coming to light that the CIA was in fact involved in JFK's assassination. It's long been a conspiracy theory. And in fact, something I just learned, the term conspiracy theory was invented with how the media was trying to dissuade people from believing anything other than the official government narrative around the JFK assassination. So happy birthday, 1964, to the term conspiracy theory. So with that said, last week, just a little context, we're going to get to something really interesting, compelling, thought-provoking, if you will, if you're a free thinker. And if you're not, then get ready to feel whatever you feel when you should be thinking. So last week, the Biden administration was supposed to release all the CIA files surrounding the JFK assassination. I predicted they would not do that. The reality is they did not do that. Here we can take a look here. The Daily Wire covers it. Biden delays full disclosure of secret JFK assassination files. So they released some more, but they completely withheld all the remaining files that have actual sensitive information that say anything. And I'm not even going to read the report of Biden's rationale for why he didn't release them. It's just like, I wouldn't believe what he says anyway. But the truth speaks loudly. The truth is he did not release the remaining sensitive JFK assassination files. So the plot starts to thicken. Last week, the Daily Wire also reported on this story. Lee Harvey Oswald tied to CIA before JFK assassination. An investigator claims. Interesting. Let's find out more. CIA documents indicate Lee Harvey Oswald was involved in a secret intelligence operation roughly 3 months before the assassination of President JFK in 1963. An investigator claimed this week. Who's the investigator? Jefferson Morley. He's a journalist and author. Here's what Jefferson Morley has to say. I think it's important to consider what he has to say, but also be an open-minded skeptic. He says it doesn't mean it's true, but it's pretty interesting what he says. Could be true. What the CIA is hiding is what they've always hidden, according to Morley, which is their sources and methods as they relate to Lee Harvey Oswald. It goes on to say, we're talking about smoking gun proof of a CIA operation involving Lee Harvey Oswald. Then the plot gets even thicker. I want to show you a clip from Tucker Carlson because all this came out this same week, which is pretty interesting. And just keep in mind the context. If we consider, did the CIA have President Kennedy killed? Now I'm starting to realize here the past couple of years that government institutions, the FBI, the CIA, they're largely not designed to serve the people. They're designed to serve the people, maybe, but they don't operate in a way that actually serves the people. We're seeing how the FBI colluded around censorship. Important to keep in mind. The official government CIA narrative is, Kennedy was killed by a lone gunman, Lee Harvey Oswald. Lone gunman, hey, we got him. That's good news. But the news gets better. Less than 48 hours, Lee Harvey Oswald was killed by another lone gunman named Jack Ruby. So he's dead. Then Jack Ruby went to jail, but he acted alone, complete lone gunman. Case closed. Luckily, there's no other things we need to investigate here. Fun fact, something I just learned. While Jack Ruby was in jail, a man from the CIA went to interview him and claimed that Jack Ruby was absolutely insane, potentially in an effort to frame anything that he did reveal as lunacy. But nobody else in Jack Ruby's life ever indicated he was insane. What Tucker Carlson reported last week is very shocking. His source, which he doesn't name, practicing journalism, didn't name his source. Now, I don't know, is his source this other dude that the Daily Wire, Jefferson Morley, is his source that same dude? I don't know. Tucker Carlson didn't say. But here's what Tucker Carlson reports regarding the JFK assassination the week before Biden refused to release the CIA documents that have sensitive information regarding JFK's assassination. Take a look.
We spoke to someone who had access to these still hidden CIA documents, a person who was deep.
The documents that you and I can't access because we're just measly citizens. But allegedly, his source had access to what you and I can't see. That's what they're deriving this information from, allegedly.
Deeply familiar with what they contain. We asked this person directly, did the CIA have a hand in the murder of John F. Kennedy, an American president? And here's the reply we received verbatim. Quote, the answer is yes.
Yikes.
I believe they were involved. It's a whole different country from what we thought it was. It's all fake.
It's interesting. It's all fake. If in fact an agency of our government, the CIA, assassinated an elected president, democratically elected, but then he's taken out of power by a government agency, the CIA, that means we haven't been living in a democracy. If that all happened, it means we've been living in the illusion of a democracy. It's all fake. As he says here, what we've been living under is some sort of authoritarian rule, deep state rule, something like that. I mean, that sounds far-fetched to not believe with what's going on nowadays, but go on, Tucker.
It's hard to imagine a more jarring response than that. Again, this is not a, quote, conspiracy theorist that we spoke to. Not even close. This is someone with direct knowledge of the information that once again is being withheld from the American public. And the answer we received was unequivocal. Yes, the CIA was involved in the assassination of the president.
If this is a credible source, that's very potent information. The source says, yes, I believe the CIA was involved in the Kennedy assassination. Then we couple that with the Daily Wire source, Jefferson Morley. If what he's saying is true, that yes, Lee Harvey Oswald was involved in a CIA operation 3 months prior to JFK's assassination. The very lone gunman who just coincidentally assassinated the president, according to their story, was involved with them 3 months prior to JFK being assassinated. It's pretty heavy. By the way, truth always weighs more than lies.
Now, some people will not be surprised to hear that. They suspected it all along. But no matter how you feel about or what you thought about the Kennedy assassination, pause to consider what this means. It means that within the U.S. government, there are forces wholly beyond democratic control.
It's all been fake.
These forces are more powerful than the elected officials that supposedly oversee them.
It's called authoritarian rule, granting us the privilege of believing we're in a democracy. Potentially very different than being in a democracy.
These forces can affect election outcomes. They can even hide their complicity in the murder of an American president. In other words, they can do pretty much anything they want. They constitute a government within a government, mocking by their very existence the idea of democracy. As cynical as we have become after 30 years of watching government officials ignore the voters who employ them, we were shocked to learn this. It's not acceptable. Americans have trusted their government less with every passing year since the killing of John F. Kennedy. Maybe this is why. And people have known this for a long time. The people who knew would include every director of the CIA since November of 1963.
That's pretty important with a friend of his he'll call out in a second.
And that list would include Obama's CIA director, John Brennan, one of the most sinister and dishonest figures in American life. That list would also include, we are sad to say, our friend Mike Pompeo, who ran the CIA in the last administration. Mike Pompeo knew this. We asked Pompeo to join us tonight, and though he rarely turns down a televised interview, he refused to come. We hope he will reconsider.
There you have it. Some new alleged evidence around Lee Harvey Oswald's involvement with the CIA and some new alleged evidence around the CIA's involvement with the JFK assassination. Curious what you think. And one of the questions on my mind is, if we live in a world where the CIA had nothing to do with the assassination, why are they withholding the files that were legally bound to be released? They keep pushing it back. Now Biden says, we're going to release them in 2023, which they keep punting it back. So they're not going to willingly release them in 2023. So if they're innocent, what would be their motive for hiding the truth that's in those files? It sure makes them look guilty. Now, it's possible they look guilty because they're guilty. And it's also possible they look guilty because they're stupid and shameless and they're not afraid to look guilty because they're hiding something else. I don't know. Let me know what you think of these couple pieces of news regarding the JFK assassination and Lee Harvey Oswald. I've got my opinion of if I had to bet money on did they do it, they being the CIA, I'd push some chips into the table on that one. But I don't know. It's just an opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And I think this isn't an old story. We could say, hey, this is he was assassinated in the 60s. This is an old story. No. This is current news around the state of our democracy. Are we in one? Are we not in one? And if we're not, why are we still allowing people who have been authoritarian in the shadows to have any level of power? Those are the questions on my mind. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. But until then, my freedom-loving friend, stay free.